There are secrets out there, guys, performance marketing secrets, and knowing just one or two of them can light up your funnels. Let's go. This is Performance Marketing Insiders. I'm Chris Mechanic. Join me as we go deep into the secrets of the world's elite marketing minds. Performance Marketing Insiders is sponsored by Web Mechanics, the AI-driven performance agency that makes you smarter. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Revenue Driven CMO. I'm your main man, Chris Mechanic. Really excited to speak with our guest today, who is amazing in many ways. She's a data-driven marketer through and through, tons of experience running teams and launching products within high-growth B2B SaaS companies to the tune of Tala, Datto, HubSpot. She's ex-HubSpot. Super duper strong resume there, and also just super passionate about understanding customers and basically how to use marketing to persuade, to delight, to entertain and educate. Currently, she's CMO at LinkSquares. Juliette Kopecky, welcome to the show, Juliette.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm super excited to have you. I was having fun in the and during our prep call, and I think that your topic is just amazing. So you want to jump right in?
Yeah, absolutely. Marketing is definitely a topic I love talking about, so I'm excited.
I know. I asked you, I was like, well, what made you want to do the pod? And you were basically just like, I like talking about marketing.
I mean, I think there's always
I love that answer
much to talk about there, and it's a field that's evolving constantly, and there's always new things to learn, new things to do. So I think it's amazing.
Yeah. And you have, we're all about secrets here, as you know. I'm sure you have many, and I'm really excited to be picking your brain. But why don't we start with your one big one? Like, what do you attribute as one of your best kept secrets for marketing success?
Yeah. I mean, that's always it's an interesting question, because in some ways, even with like the intro you gave me, it might seem like a really obvious answer here, but I think that one of the real secrets to my success, I mean, I'm the first one to admit that I have a little bit of a non-traditional marketing background.
Yeah.
I actually started out my early career working in finance. Went back to school. I went to business school at MIT Sloan and kind of did a complete 180 with my career. After that, I joined HubSpot. And actually, while I was at HubSpot, I worked in sales. I worked on the product team before joining the marketing team and really growing my marketing career from there. And I think that one of my secrets that has made me really successful as a marketer is having that really varied experience. I've worked in finance. I definitely know how to run a budget. I understand, how to manage finances and what my CFO cares about. I've worked in sales. I know what it's like to be an account exec, to get on the phone and to sell. I've worked on the product side. I know what it takes to build a product and to work with product management and scope out use cases and understand more about what a customer needs and how they want to use the product before eventually joining marketing. And I think a secret to my own success has been that career trajectory in terms of understanding those other parts of the business. And so when I think about marketing, I'm a firm believer that marketing shouldn't and can't exist in a vacuum. It can't just be marketing for the sake of marketing. It has to be marketing to power the business and to drive revenue. And that's why also partially why I think your show, I was really drawn to it. One of the things that I always focus on is how does marketing impact the bottom line for our business? And I think having that understanding of different areas of how a business runs, makes marketing all the more powerful.
I totally agree with you. And I think that the best marketers in the world are probably really good business people. They just have very strong business acumen. They may have run businesses before, or like you, just had a varied experience. You ask different questions at that level, there's a lot of marketers even today, which they'll be, buying ads or doing whatever it is that they're doing, generating leads, and not even asking are these turning into demos? Are these are these meetings happening? Was anybody buying?
Exactly.
And I think having that varied experience makes those obvious questions for you.
Yeah. And I think for me, then, it's like having that sort of different perspective of marketing. Absolutely. Everything that you said, where it's not just about leads or traffic to our website, but it's that revenue at the end of the day. And how is marketing helping support, complement, and also drive new business? And, I think one of the really like instrumental parts of even my career, I think having had that experience like in sales, getting on the phone, talking to prospects, like understanding how to pitch and even understanding, what is it like to sit in that seat? And thinking about how does what we do in marketing like make that salesperson's job easier? And I think for me, like having worked on the product side of things, like understanding, why we're building a product or how customers and prospects and people in our market, like our target audience, are thinking about their job and what they want to do and how much of it informs like messaging and positioning. And I think having sort of like some of that intellectual curiosity is something that has served me well, and something when I look at like bringing marketers onto my team, something that very much so I look for. It's not enough just to, let's say, like do marketing, but you have to understand those different parts of the business. You have to understand, how the product works, like how different teams within the organization work. And all of those things combined are going to make you a better and stronger marketer at the end of the day, is my belief.
Yeah. Well, I love that you have a sales background, because I think that being in sales helps you to understand the business, because you see the revenue side, you see customer onboarding, you see churn, you see all these things. But one thing you said during pre-call, which I loved, when I was like, what's your secret? You were like, get on the phone and sell a deal to a prospect. Like, I'm not like, and you were saying, I'm not scared to do that.
I actually that was such, I think, such just almost like an inflection point of my career and such a critical skill, I think, that I learned in sales. Like don't get like, sales is incredibly hard. It's probably like one of the hardest jobs that I've ever had. And I have so much respect for salespeople, for our sales team at LinkSquares and what they do day in and day out. And I think for me, it's also having done that job and having that understanding, but also that skill set has certainly like served me well, like in other parts of my career, whether it's negotiating like a job offer, whether it's selling an idea that I have or trying to get people on board and like convince them, and some of the persuasion tactics. It's even things like, how do you ask for a deal? I think that sometimes that can be really hard for people to say. Like, you might get to the finish line and you're kind of like 95% there, and you have to ask for the deal and sell, right? And close it. And I think those are skills that I've taken with me throughout my career. And I actually love it. Like now, as it being like a CMO, I love it when my sales team asks me to help them with a deal, whether it's maybe like a contact or a connection that I have. And I'm like, awesome. Like, I want to jump on a demo. Let me help you. What do you need? Like, it's like not just about like, how can the marketing team support you with, whether it's like content or like other things like that, or like resources or collateral, but I'm like, yes, let me join the call. I want to help you sell, and I want to help you close the deal. I think there's kind of like nothing more satisfying than that as a marketer, to know that you had that direct of an impact.
Yeah. Do you have like a go-to line or a talk track that you used to use for asking for the deal?
I don't, but because I think it's like not a one size fits all, right?
Yeah.
Because I think part of it is it can't just be about you selling, right? I think so much about being an effective salesperson is also about listening, to really understanding like, what are the needs of the prospect? Like, what are their challenges? What are they trying to accomplish? And being that good listener. And I think that's incredibly hard sometimes, especially when you have like that natural excitement for like what you do and what you're selling. And you kind of want to just almost like word vomit, like just everything about the product and every single feature and functionality and cool thing that's like happening there. But I think that listening part is really important. And I think if you've listened throughout the process and really understand it, part of closing the deal is some of that almost like reiteration of like, hey, I've heard you. I understand your challenges. what you're trying to accomplish, what you're looking for, this product or solution to do. I have, an understanding of like our product and what we have, and there's a fit there. It's like, are you ready to move forward with that? Do you have more questions? But I think you can't close a deal unless you have that understanding first.
Yeah. I just beg. I'm like, please. I need to hit my quota. No,
I mean, sometimes like a little of that like can work. I think it probably depends. Some of that depends on how good of a relationship that you've built with that prospect, right? Are they kind of like sympathetic to your begging or not?
I know. But yeah, I loved that thought of, hey, get on the phone and pitch a deal to a prospect. I think that would be an amazing activity for any CMO or any marketer really that has not ever done that. At least to listen to the sales calls at the very least. But I think the idea of pitching it is smart, but it's also a metaphor for what you were saying before in a way, in that you were basically saying your secret was that you came up in this diverse way. So like, get on the phone and pitch a deal, Mr. CMO, is kind of a metaphor for like, do the jobs of the other people to the extent that you can, or at least spend time with the other groups and the other people so that you have an intimate understanding of, what they're doing, what they're thinking about, what their skills are, and how, you might be able to work together.
I am certainly not giving the advice for every CMO to be like, okay, restart your career, go take a sales job, then go work in product, and then come back to marketing, right? But I think that's been a secret from my career. And I think the takeaway is exactly what you're saying, right? Like, what are the ways that you can listen, that you can understand, that you can understand for your teammates? Like, what are the challenges? How can marketing work as like a collaboration with different people across the organization? And there's a lot of, I think it can probably sound like a little bit daunting to be like, okay, get on the phone and like pitch a prospect, right? But there's a lot of low stakes ways to do it. Even something like, there's so many sales tools out there. Like we use Gong at LinkSquares, and there's ways that you can role play. You can listen to a prospect call, you can stop it, and you can say, okay, well, what would you say next? Or what would be the question that you would ask? There's also tons of opportunities. Like I know, for example, I'm super excited. We have a big event coming up in a couple of weeks. It's an annual event, an annual industry event that we exhibit at called CLOC. It's the Corporate Legal Operations Consortium. And they throw a huge annual event in Vegas. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to be at the booth. And it's such a great opportunity to meet with like our key target audience and to do that sort of like light pitching, where it's, hey, have you heard of LinkSquares before? And if the answer is no, it's like, let me give you like the one line about LinkSquares. Let me tell you a little bit about us and our AI powered contract lifecycle management solution. What are you using right now? And to get some of that even immediate feedback when you're having that like face-to-face conversation on like the showroom floor, like you can kind of like really easily like iterate and test out like what kind of works, what doesn't, what resonates with people. And so we actually have a number of people that go from the sales and the marketing side because, I really truly believe like there's a huge benefit for like everyone on the team.
Absolutely. That's good advice too. Get out there, man that booth, pitch that deal, and you could extrapolate that. You could say, save that customer, like go hang out with the CS team. Like here's an angry customer, go save that account.
And same thing, like even listening, like I love even being on the floor where it's like, I can hear how our sales team pitches it. And, we're going to send probably about 10 people from our sales team to this event. And even hearing, how do 10 different people pitch it is just a ton of information that you get in such a short amount of time.
Yeah. Well, that's brilliant. Thank you for that secret, Juliette. I've got a bunch of different follow-up questions, which I'm organizing in my mind right now. But let's talk about LinkSquares a little bit.
Yeah, would love to.
Yeah, so you've been there a little while. Well, quite a while, 4 years, it looks like, per LinkedIn.
Almost 4 years. Coming up on my 4-year anniversary, which in startup time is like absolutely wild. It's like, I think like 15 years of experience. When I first joined the company, I was like the first marketer. I was the only marketer, so it was just me.
Oh, wow.
And now the company was probably about 40 people at the time, and now we're over 400. Marketing team is 30 people. So I'm
Wow.
incredibly proud of everything that we've created, like on the marketing side, and that we've done as a company. It's been an incredible ride.
That's awesome. How are you guys? Well, congratulations, first off, to go from
Thank
a
you.
0-person team to 30 is certainly an achievement. Um, how are you guys structured, or like, do you organize people by channels like Google Ads and LinkedIn, or more by certain functions, or how do you
Yeah, so
structure your
the
team?
the four different groups in marketing, we have our creative team. So we do a ton of videos. They do all of our visual design, company brand, company story. We've got our content team, which is like our ebooks, our blog articles. We actually
Mhm.
produce our own video series. We have like PR, social, email marketing falls under them. We've got demand gen, which is all of our paid acquisition. So like Google AdWords, LinkedIn paid ads.
Mhm.
Marketing ops falls under there. We've got a pretty large events team. We actually see like a huge ROI when it comes to events. So we do a big mix of like in-person, virtual events. And then we've got product marketing, which is all of our product feature launches, messaging, positioning, competitive intelligence, customer advocacy, all falls under product marketing.
Wow, and that all rolls up to you.
Yes.
So you're a very busy lady.
Yes, of course. But aren't we all?
I want to ask you a micro question, which is probably too detailed, but what routines do you follow, or like just in terms of management and in terms of alignment and just keeping the whole team together? Like, do you have any routines, like a daily, weekly, monthly sort of a rhythm of any sort, or any specific types of meetings that you really enjoy?
Yeah. I mean, I would say for me, like one of the most important things, like across the team and across the organization, that I focus on is so one, I will start out with saying that I am a very organized person. I love making a list. I love even like organizing my calendar and making sure that it has like sort of that right structure for the week. Like every week I'll kind of set out and I'll take a look at my calendar and I'll say, are these the meetings that like make sense for this week in terms of prioritization, even in terms of like we work hybrid. I'm in the office 2 days a week, for meeting with people and catching up. A big area of focus for me and where I think helping the team like work effectively is communication, right? Communication, visibility, transparency. And so certainly I would say like a very typical sort of like meeting cadence with the exec team meeting, with my senior leadership meeting. But one of the things that's really important to me, and I think partially because like I built the marketing team from scratch, from the ground up, from when it was
Mhm.
just me to the 30 people that we have today. Like, and I'm very, very biased when it comes to this question, but like I absolutely love every single person on the marketing team. And I do skip level meetings throughout the entire team because, I mean, quite frankly, like I love to hear about what people are working on. I love to learn about like them as people and about like their lives, and also give them the opportunity. Like, I find with me, like, yes, I have like meeting overload 100%, that sometimes it's now that we're not like 100% in the office, when you're in the office, people will just ask the spontaneous questions because they see you in the hallway. Maybe they sit next to you, they're in a meeting, and there's like that extra like 2 minutes at the end or in the beginning. And people will ask like the questions that are maybe important to them, but aren't an urgent question. And I think
Yeah.
when we moved to, working remote, you kind of lost some of that spontaneity and questions. And so part of it for me with doing skip level meetings, throughout like my entire team is to make sure that we have like that opportunity to catch up, and the things that are on like my team's mind, at any level, that they have the opportunity to ask questions, whether it's about the business, whether it's about strategy that we're working on the marketing side, whether it's, things about our investors or the board meeting. And that's really important to me, and something that I love really doing with the team.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it sounds like you're a great leader. and a great boss. I'd like to work for you. Do
That's
you
the
have
hope.
any other openings?
That's the hope. We are actually hiring on the team, which I'm super excited about as well.
Oh,
It's always
cool.
exciting when we get to grow the team. And it's been such a huge part of our story at LinkSquares, being that growth leader and, taking the team. When I joined, we were a seed stage company and we raised a Series C. We've raised $160 million. And it's super exciting to be a part of that journey. And I love the pace of change and like growing the team and all the new things that we get to do all the time.
That's awesome. So I'd like to hear about a win story or some kind of a cool campaign or just something that you're proud of, that comes to mind. Can you think of any like high impact or otherwise just like really cool campaigns or initiatives you've done?
Yeah. So one of the things that I'll kind of like piggyback on your last question about, like one of the things that like I think with being data driven with also one thing that I really love to do that I almost wish that I had more time to do is, and I was just actually talking with a team member about this, is some of that reflection. I think that the way that you get better is to really understand like what have you done in the past and to understand like, what worked, what didn't work, what would we do differently if we did this again, what would we do the same. And so we have different touch points for that, whether it's like our monthly, it's called the M4 meeting. It's the monthly marketing metrics meeting where every month after the month closes, we go through and we look at the results from the campaigns that we ran. And it's a great touch point. And then every quarter after a board meeting, I run through the slides with the team to give them that visibility from like the board meeting and what I present to the board. And I love that there's kind of like those points of reflection and sort of study into like, what have we done in the past? And sometimes it's kind of crazy where it's like, we just recently had our company board meeting and, we're talking about Q1 and it's like, 3-4 weeks later. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like Q1 seems like it was like a year ago because the pace at which we move and like the things that we do, there's always like new exciting things that we're working on. It's like, that seems like it was last year.
Yeah.
But one campaign that we worked on recently is, so the Boston Celtics, they're a customer of ours. And we have a partnership with them as well. That's been really phenomenal and fantastic. And we love when we're based in Boston, and we love when we have Boston area customers as well. And we did an event with them where we sell to general counsels, chief legal officers, in-house legal teams. So we did an event at the Garden where the Celtics play. And we invited a number of customers and prospects to a talk that James Parker, who is the GC of the Celtics, gave, and one of our customers, Danielle Shear, and a talk and a panel. And it was just an amazing evening. Then we invited everyone to the game. And we actually had this really great advertising opportunity with the Celtics as well, where we had a 30-second ad spot on the Jumbotron. And so the weeks leading up to this, like the team, everyone on the marketing team had been basically working towards this event, whether it was the actual event that we were hosting, the talk, the creative for like the video, being in the video, creating like the concept for it, like all of the design. And we shot the video like in-house, like with the team, like we took a day for the video shoot. And that evening was just honestly phenomenal because it was this culmination of like weeks of work, the whole team pulling together and like those efforts, having this amazing event for prospects and customers that was really unique and really special. That the feedback that we got after it was just like phenomenal. And then I brought the marketing team to the game, and you're sitting there in the Garden and you literally get to see like this ad spot that you created on the Jumbotron during the Celtics game. It was kind of like a surreal experience.
That's awesome.
I think it's like a marketing bucket list item,
Yeah, I'd love to see that ad spot.
I would be
I'm sure
happy
it's
to share
awesome.
it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Cool. Well, it sounds like you're doing a spectacular job and most things are going well. What's challenging you? What keeps you up at night, so to speak?
Yeah. I think it's so many things, like, right. There's a lot going on. And I think that for me, I I love being a part of like a high growth startup, the rate of change, the things that we do in a given month, quarter, year. But, it certainly like comes with its challenges, right? Like every single day, like every single week, quarter, like year is different from the past. And so in some ways, when I think about like the company that I joined 3.5 years ago, where it was a 40-person company, 1-person marketing team, just me, the challenges and like the company was almost a different company at that
Yeah.
point in time than it is today. And so for me, the challenge is constant in terms of figuring out like marketing strategy, but even like for me as like a marketing leader, if I'm being honest, like being able to up level my ability and to be like the right leader and to think about strategy and the team and everything that we need to do, and be a part of that journey and honestly like grow my own career as quickly as like the company has grown. And so those are the things that, probably keep me up at night. Like what is the thing that we need to plan for the future, whether it's terms of like campaigns, whether it's in terms of the team, whether it's like new markets and areas that we're focused on, from like a sales side, or we actually have a big product launch coming up in just a couple of weeks that we're going to announce at that event that I mentioned that happens in Vegas every year. And so there's always something new happening and there's always a new challenge, and which I love, but I probably spend a lot of time thinking about the best thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I heard sort of somewhere in there, it sounds like you spend a lot of time thinking about how to continually up level yourself.
Definitely. Definitely. I think you
Which
have
is,
to, right?
yeah, definitely. I mean, absolutely. Because especially in a world where like you're new into a role, which you're not at this point, but in a world where things change really fast, I think definitely like keeping up to date and up leveling thyself is incredibly important. What do you do? How do you do that? The up leveling part? Do you like read or have a mentor or something that you
Yeah, I think it's
groups?
it's a combination of all those things. I consider myself like very fortunate to have worked at HubSpot, and honestly, especially in those early days where a lot of the people probably a similar career trajectory as like myself, where we worked together maybe in like that 2010, 11, 12 timeframe, and now many of them are VPs of marketing or CMOs, and I have this like great group of like marketing leaders that like I lean on for mentorship, for new ideas, for things to do on the marketing side. So definitely that's like a big piece of it. And I think like seeking advice and being open to advice. There are different groups that I'm also a part of that I'm excited about, like to be able to gather like marketing information and like expand my network. One of the things that I also do in addition to being like a CMO is I'm an angel investor. I'm a limited partner in Stage 2 Capital, which has been really exciting as well. And even helping others on like their early like marketing journey has been really exciting. And then even just like working really closely and keeping the lines of communication open with, people on the LinkSquares side, whether that's my own team or whether that's the executive team or, more broadly within the organization. All of those things, I think, help me become a better marketer and better understand the business and the challenges and how like marketing can better serve the company.
Yeah, absolutely. What are your big priorities like in the near term that you're working on for the rest of this quarter and next?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I would say has always been a big priority and like will continue to be a big priority is really like content marketing
Yeah.
for us. Like, how do we continue to create educational, thoughtful, valuable marketing for our target audience? And I think we've seen a lot of evolution in terms of like content that people are seeking, the different ways that people like to consume information. And whether that's through like videos, whether that's through written content, whether it's through things like a podcast, we're always kind of trying to push the envelope there and expand like the reach that we have. And we're going to continue to invest there.
Yeah, or a chat bot.
Yeah.
I've got to ask, are you guys doing much with ChatGPT?
We
or
are
AI?
definitely. I mean, I would say, for LinkSquares, for us, I mean, we are an AI company. And so I would say inherent to the DNA of our company, like we are always trying to be at the forefront of AI. And so I would say from like a product standpoint, it's definitely like an area that we are paying attention to and researching. I would say on the marketing side, we definitely use chat GPT tools and generative AI and things like that, even for like the marketing that we do. So yes, probably on two fronts.
Yeah. Have you found it to be useful in terms of the content generation, or has the content been like too robotic sounding or too generic sounding?
I think that it has 100% been helpful. And I'll give a little plug for we use a tool called Jasper AI,
Yeah.
and have found it really beneficial and really enjoyed it. And I would say it's one of these things, like, I think there's sometimes this misconception about like AI in general. Like AI isn't going to, or at least it's not in the point like right now, to replace the work that humans do, right?
Yeah.
100%. And so I think that there's always that combination of it. I think that AI can certainly help like streamline tasks, that it can help take away some of the repetitive, like monotonous like pieces of it, and maybe take something that would have taken you an hour to do. Like maybe it can get you 80% of the way there in a couple of minutes. But it's
Yeah.
not as if it's just like a rinse and repeat, like just set it and forget it kind of thing. And it's even like
Right.
a philosophy for our own product. Like we have an AI product that helps like extract data and information from contracts, but we also layer on a level of human QA onto it, on top of it,
Hmm.
because and having to have like that level of accuracy. And it's something that we see even like when we use like generative AI for like content. It's not as if you push a button and you're just going to get something and you just post it. You're still going to take a look and make sure, is it in the right voice? Is this the right tone? Is this the right term that's going to resonate with our audience?
Yeah. Is this accurate? Or is it a
Exactly.
hallucination? Right.
Exactly.
Well, no, that sounds like a good thing to be focused on, content marketing. I think, certainly it is. Content really is like the currency, it's like what every single channel, every single campaign, everything runs through. So it sounds like that. Sounds like you're hiring. Do you want to mention the specific role that you're hiring for? There could very well
Yes.
be somebody listening.
Yeah, so we're hiring for two content roles. We're also hiring for an SEO role, for also like a digital marketing role focused on like paid ads. Those
Yeah.
are the four roles that we have open right now on the marketing team.
All right. Well, if you're listening, definitely check it out, linksquares.com.
Or connect with me on
Um,
LinkedIn. Always happy to chat.
yeah. Any other big priorities that you're looking at this quarter or next?
Just helping our sales team generate more revenue, right? Building the
There you go.
pipeline for them. And it's something that we're always keeping track of like which marketing activities, like, what works, like what can we improve on. But
Yeah.
really with at the end of the day, like how are we helping our sales team generate revenue?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's always a huge area of opportunity. Well, in most cases, but it sounds like you guys probably are pretty well intertwined with your sales team, if I had to guess,
Yes,
given your
definitely.
background.
And that's something that I personally value a lot. So Steve Travellini, who is our CRO at LinkSquares, him and I have a great relationship, a great partnership, a great way in which we work together. And I think part of the reason why it works is also not just that it's important for the two of us, but it's something that we build and we instill on our team at all levels. Like, how is demand gen working with sales leadership? How is our events team working with sales content? And that happens also throughout the organization, whether that's our sales team, our product team. One of the benefits that we have is we have an amazing legal team. And so for us, it even gives us all this insight about like our key target customer, because that's essentially they're our own best customer, right?
Hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Juliette, this has been a lot of fun. I'm cognizant of your time here. I have more questions for you. I think I could go ad nauseum, but I know you probably have something right after this. Do you want to do the lightning round?
Okay. I don't know if I've prepared for the lightning round, so this is a little bit of a surprise.
It'll be easy. And don't worry, if you mess up, we'll take it out, but you won't. You'll be good.
You're not supposed
All
to tell the listeners that.
right. So question number 1. If you were to start a side hustle, what side hustle would that be?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think that for me, it would probably be something in the hospitality field. And I don't know exactly what that would be, whether it would be, okay, like I love, I think this ties back into like being super organized. Like I love like planning events. I love like bringing people together for like a gathering. Like I love like hosting and having friends over. Is there something in like event planning? Or I also like love to cook, like when I have time. Like I love to cook and I love to bake. Like, I don't know, like would I open a restaurant? I don't know.
Yeah. Or like an event planning outfit, like a wedding planner almost.
Just everything. Although weddings can be kind of crazy. So I don't know about that.
Totally. Cool. I like it. Number 2, top 3 books or authors or influencers that have made a big impact in your life. I know that's a tough one too.
That is like a tough one because I'm going to like just upfront admit, like I love to read. My mom was a career librarian. I mean, like I remember as like a kid, like going to the library where you just come out with like a stack of like 20 books and I would just be reading all the time. And it's something that I wish that I had more time to do. But I will be the first to admit that I am like really bad at like remembering books and like authors.
Me too.
It's like I am like fighting the urge to like pull up my phone and like pull up my Kindle, like just even to remember like some of the recent books that I read. One recent book that I read for fun that I really loved, and like I'm certainly cognizant. I'm like, okay, I should like be remembering like business books or like influential books in that area. But one book that I recently read for fun that I loved, it's called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Just a really fun read, amazing character development. And I kind of, I think a lot of times like use books as kind of that like escape to like shut my brain off. And I just really loved it.
That's cool. Yeah, I need to read more fiction. Many people have told me, they're like, you have to read fiction, man. I can't believe you don't read fiction. So I'll check that out. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow.
Yes, it's a wonderful book.
Cool. And then finally, what do you do to avoid getting burned out?
I think for me, it's partially, just even finding like work-life balance. I've got two young kids. I've got a 5-year-old and I've got a 7-year-old, and really purposefully like carving out time. It's like I have work time, I have family time. And then even, like with my husband, it's like finding time for like the two of us to do like date nights. And then we have family things that we do, like whether it's like going to the Museum of Science or something like that. And also like carving out time for friends. And I think finding that balance is probably what prevents me from getting like burnt out and what probably like keeps me sane at the end of the day.
That's brilliant. I love that. And date night, that's another thing that I need to be better about.
I know that's like my biggest advice for parents. Like if you don't have like a babysitter like that you can, use on a regular basis, I think that's like a must have.
Absolutely. Juliette, well, this has been amazing. I loved it. For everyone listening, if you learned something today or had a good laugh at any point, drop us a like or a thumbs up. Juliette, stay on the line just a second, but let everybody know if they're interested to learn more about you or LinkSquares and potentially apply for one of those roles. What's the best way to do it?
I would say connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a message.
Sweet. Easy enough. All right. Very good, Juliette. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us today. For show notes and other episodes, visit us at performancemarketinginsiders.com. This podcast is sponsored by Web Mechanics, the performance agency that makes you smarter, offering AI-driven search, paid social, analytics, and conversion rate optimization for financial services, health, B2B, and SaaS brands that know. Hey guys, exclusive for listeners of this podcast, you can get a performance marketing assessment for free. And this isn't some cookie cutter automated report. It lays out detailed, specific things you can do right now to unlock limitless growth and nirvana level personal satisfaction. To claim your free assessment, just go to performancemarketinginsiders.com/audit and you'll have your customer report within just a few days.